Good afternoon, Good Shepherd. It's Wednesday afternoon, June 10th, and I'm happy to be with you here today to mostly give updates. I don't have any theological insights this week um, doing the daily office. Sometimes that happens, and that's okay. But I did want to give you just a few updates as we go into the weekend. First of all, you may have seen an email come out today, uh, again, reminding you, if you haven't already filled out the survey, to go and do it. We heard that there were some problems with the link that went out in last week's e-news. That link has been corrected and was sent out today, and it will go out again in tomorrow's e-news. We would hope to close the survey by Friday or on Friday. Last I checked, we had 109 responses, which is just fabulous. So if you can get on and give us your answers to those questions, we would be very, very grateful. That will help us immensely as we start talking about bringing people back into the building. I mentioned last time that we would have some folks going in to measure the space so that we would know how many people we could get in the church, and I'm very grateful to that group of guys who came out on Saturday morning and helped. I mentioned on Sunday that our capacity, given social distancing and the right distance between me and the congregation or between any singers in the congregation, we will be limited to 50 people, and that includes musicians, singers, presiders, readers, any in the sanctuary. That's as many as we can get in the sanctuary, according to the governor's regulations. We could probably get about 30 in the parish hall. Not very many at all in the chapel. It's just too small. So if we use the chapel, it would be basically for remote services. And we talked about whether or not we would be able to do things outside. A couple of limitations. The distance limitations, again, put people a long ways away from anybody who's speaking. Getting audio equipment out there is a little bit of a challenge. We're not insurmountable, but it's a little bit of a challenge. And we, of course, have to be good neighbors. We don't want any of our speakers blasting the neighbors on the other side of that fence. That would not be good evangelism, I don't think. So we're still working on whether or not the outdoor option would work. But again, we wouldn't be able to get any more than 50. That we're limited it to that number. But I'm not even sure we could get 50 who would be able to see and hear what was going on. I'm going to share my screen for just a second so you can see, looking down one aisle of the church, what is taped off. You can see that we would lose the first 3 full pews, then we would have a pew, and then no pew, and then have a pew, and then no pew, and then we would be back to the back. That's pretty much what it would look like all the way around to the choir loft. And so you can see that people are going to be pretty spread out, and that's not counting the side-to-side issue of just sort of the regular social distancing. So we are continuing to work on all of that, and we are moving forward on that. As I said before, the material that comes from the survey will help as well determine how we move forward. And there is a team working, meet next week after we have the details from the survey, to consider possible additions to our worship. Don't need to have everything focused on Sunday morning. We're going to be in this for quite a while, and it might make sense to offer some other options for worship, especially as people are going back to work and things like that. Maybe Sunday morning is not going to be the best, but we'll keep the Sunday morning option even after we start meeting together, whenever that might be. So just some updates on those several things, the survey and the seating capacity. And then the last thing I want to say is that on Sunday after church, we made this shift last week. It worked pretty well that immediately following church, we'd have a 15 or 20-minute sort of coffee hour. And then following that, we would move into faith formation. And this coming week, we will be talking about a passage from Isaiah 43, where God declares that everything would be made new. And we'll consider what that passage has to do with what new will emerge from our time in COVID land. So the link to that that passage and the discussion questions can be found on the website. And I encourage you to take part in that discussion. Last week's discussion on Noah's Ark is available on the website as well, if you want to take a look at that. So really, that's all for today, for this week. I look forward to seeing you on Sunday. We've got a lot of great music coming up and another family singing for us. And I'm sure that you will find it a blessing as we did last week. Music has been really, really wonderful, I think, given all of the options that we're taking advantage of. So I look forward to seeing you Sunday. If you have any questions, please don't hesitate to let me know. You can find me tomorrow morning at 8:30 with the morning sheep count or any other time. So I look forward to hearing from you. Blessings to you all, my friends. We are all looking forward to being back together as soon as we can. In the meantime, God bless you all.